Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth module of the course. So far we have focused on the world of scientific and academic writing. In this module we cross over into the other major pillar of our profession, that is the industry, the pharma and the medical device industry. In this session we will explore these two critical functions that we serve as a medical writer. So, talking about the learning objectives, by the end of this module, we should be able to understand the purpose and structure of key regulatory documents. Regulatory documents, we'll discuss them at length. Clinical study protocol, clinical study reports, these fall under regulatory documents. Two, we should be able to grasp the principles of writing effective and compliant promotional materials. So first would be the regulatory document, second would be the promotional material, third would be to understand the importance of MLR review process. MLR as in the medical, the legal and the regulatory review process. And towards the end, we will understand the role of a medical writer, and also as we are doing with other modules, we'll talk on AI. How has it changed the current scenario? So, see, before we go ahead with the first part of the session, we should understand the shift in the mindset based on the different requirements of industry writing. When we talk about the industry writing as compared to the academic writing, how do these two verticals vary? So, in the academic writing, which we covered under the first three modules of the course, the goal was to share new knowledge and scientific data, right? And our audience for which we wrote was the peers, the researchers, and fellow scientists. Whereas now when we talk about the industry writing in this module, industry by industry, we mean the pharma industry and the medical device industry. So herein the goal is to achieve something from the business perspective. So it may be an approval on a new drug from government authorities, right? Such as FDA in the USA, or in India, it would be Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, CDSCO. And herein, as we can understand, the stakes would be much higher as compared to the scientific writing. So while drafting any document for this setup, for the regulatory setup, we cannot, the document has to have zero margin of error, and without any ambiguities, we have to go ahead. When I say without any ambiguities, it would imply that every fact point stated in the document needs to be referenced properly. And so the key principles involved for this type of writing would be objectivity. Just stick to the facts, no narrative review, nothing. Be consistent, and all the guidelines need to be followed. Now coming to the first part of the module, the word of regulatory writing. First, we would cover the regulatory writing. Next, we will move on to the promotional material, followed by the role of a medical writer and AI. So when we talk about the word of regulatory writing, herein the goal is to write documents and get approval on a new drug or a device. So see, even before we go ahead and discuss the topic, we need to understand the rules, okay? So all the regulatory documents must follow a an international code of ethics. So this we call ICH-GCP. ICH would stand for International Council for Harmonization, and GCP is good clinical practice. So every regulatory document must be compliant with ICH-GCP. Reason is very simple. Drug discoveries are happening all across the globe, and the researchers need to follow a uniform practice of documenting and writing their applications to the government authorities. So everything need to be compliant with ICH GCP, everything under the regulatory mm, drafting. So now coming to the first key regulatory document, which we call as Clinical Study Protocol, CSP. So it is more or less something, I mean, we can call it a recipe wherein we will get the exact content list and the flow which we are going to follow. So before, see, for drug approval or even for medical devices, the entire journey of that particular drug would go through certain stages of trial. So what exactly are you going to do in that particular drug study, including study objectives, the inclusion and exclusion criteria for patients, how will be your study designed? Is it an observational study or a randomized controlled trial? What all treatment regimens have been used? What would be the primary and secondary outcomes, right? So everything would be there in this clinical study protocol. So in a way, it would be a table of content which will give the reader an idea about the study, a comprehensive idea about the structure of the study, clinical study. So now coming to the second regulatory document, which we call as Investigator's Brochure, IB. So what exactly it is? It will be a master manual. In a way, it will be a master manual which will compile, which will summarize all the data which is present till date about a particular investigational drug, the drug which is under investigation, all the data, whether it is clinical or even the non-clinical data. So the what exactly is the purpose of having this data at a single place? So that the investigators, the clinicians who are running the trials on patients would know each and everything which is available in the market about that drug. If there are any previous such human trials, he should be knowing about that. What were the lab studies results on those drugs? He should be knowing that. So, and we need to understand that it is a dynamic document, as in it will keep on updating itself, right? Coming to the third regulatory document, it is the clinical study report. So clinical study report would be based on now a clinician and investigator has decided the protocol, and he has collected all the information. He has gone through all the information which he has been provided with in the investigator's brochure. He goes ahead and conducts the study. And when the data, I mean, from the methodology and the results section, whatever data he is getting in his study, that data needs to be compiled, analyzed, and synthesized. So this thing which now comes up would we would call it as clinical study report. So these reports can be thousands of pages long because it will contain each and everything related to the real study that happened this time. Okay. And it has to follow a strict format, again defined by ICH, because different investigators across the globe, if they are running the studies in different formats, we won't be able to synthesize the data points effectively, right? So it would include everything. These clinical study reports would include everything from the protocol, statistical results, patient narratives, what exactly your patients, then clinicians, patients told about the adverse effects. Everything would be a part of these clinical study reports. And majority of the time, if you are a regulatory writer, majority of your time will be dedicated on drafting effective clinical study reports. Now, once we are done with the clinical study report, we come to the clinical common technical document. Now, see, before okay, so what exactly a common technical document is? See, now your clinical study report is ready. Now you want to send an application to the regulatory authorities such as FDA. So now you need to bring all those findings from the CSR to an application format, right? So this application form of the CSR is known as common technical document. Now, so what exactly it is? It is an application format used to submit a new drug for approval to health authorities. And the goal would be like, it may not be feasible, and that CSR may not convey the crucial information to the health regulatory authorities, in the sense that since it may be a very comprehensive document, the CSR, there is a high chance of missing out on important pieces of information. So they have decided a clear format, a structured format for submitting the applications. Okay, so now if we talk about a CTD, actually it is made up, the structure of the application is in the form of 5 modules. So what exactly you are supposed to do? 5 modules, you can say these are the 5 sections in which your application should be structured into. So the first section, the first module would be the regional, would be having the regional administrative related information which needs to be submitted. Okay, so logically, as can be understood, this particular section will differ region to region. Okay, now coming to the next 4 modules, modules 2, 3, 4, and 5, these have a defined template, and this will be a uniform structure which won't vary. So what exactly does it contain? Talking about the module 2, as you can as we can see module 2, before we talk about the second module, let us see the third, fourth, and the fifth modules at the base of this pyramid. So module 3 is talking about the quality parameters of the drug. Module 4 is talking about the non-clinical study reports from the investigator's brochure, right? And module 5 is talking on the clinical study report, CSR. So what exactly a medical writer has to do? He has to synthesize these, the summaries from these 3 modules, the third, the fourth, and the fifth modules, and bring it over here to the second module. So in a way, what exactly would the second module be having? The quality summary, quality overall summary, the non-clinical study report summary, and the CSR, clinical study report summary. So everything comes over here, and this second module along with the first module will in a way form the skeleton of your CTD. So this was about the CTD. So regulatory documents, under the first part, we learned about four types of regulatory documents: clinical study protocol, investigator's brochure, clinical study report, and the common technical document. These four documents will cover the entire journey of a drug approval or a medical device approval application. Now, coming to the second part of the module, which is on writing for promotion. Promotion, now once the drug is approved, the pharma industry needs to promote this newly approved drug to the healthcare practitioners, right? So the goal for this type of writing, for these types of document, would be to communicate the value of an approved medicine. Right? So now the golden rule which a medical writer needs to stick to while drafting a promotional content piece is to uh, uh, stick to referencing each and every claim. Why so? Because many a times when you get a request from a pharma marketing head or pharma marketing personnel to draft a promotional material, because of the obvious business reasons, they may ask you, they may request you to give a biased document. So as a medical writer, you need to ensure that whatever requirement you are receiving from the marketing team is in alignment with the existing data. So every claim must be supported with a data point. Right? You cannot say anything that is not supported by the approved data in the market, in the research field. So every single claim, be it a number, be it a statement, needs to be linked directly to a specific approved source document. So you need to add references, superscripts against against every single data point. And your job is to, so in a way, what exactly you are doing for a particular, for example, you have, there should be an example. Yeah. So for example, you have been asked to write a promotional material about drug X. Okay. So drug X, what exactly you have to do? First job would be, as the first pointer of your job, you will have to find the data around the drug X, which is present in the literature. Then you have to write the claim. You have to formulate the ad, the promotional content piece, and then you have to prove as in you have to reference where you got it from. You have to reference your claim against the available data, and this is called as referencing or annotation. So, for example, there is this clinical trial, Pioneer 3 study, wherein it is found that drug X reduced HbA1c by 1.5% from baseline compared to a 0.2% reduction with placebo. So significantly, this is a significant, statistically significant difference, right? So the promotional claim which you can go ahead with and which is compliant with the regulatory guidelines would be, in a pivotal clinical trial, drug X demonstrated a statistically significant 1.5% reduction in A1C, superscript 1. And below you have to add this reference, Pioneer 3 study. Understood? Right. Now, so the golden rule of drafting the promotional material, we have understood. We have to reference every single data point. Okay. Now, these all documents would fall under your promotional deliverables. You may be asked to draft sales aids or detail aids. You may be asked to draft slide decks for speakers, for some sponsored, for pharma sponsored talks. You may be asked to write for content for your company's website. Right? Even the patient support materials, we need to understand that even they are subjected to strict review. So these types of documents would fall under the promotional content pieces. Coming to the third part, the MLR review. So what exactly it is? You can call it as the gatekeeper, as the guardian of compliance, the gatekeeper. So M would stand for medical, L legal, R regulatory. So what exactly this is a very strict compliance regulatory review which every document has to go through. So what exactly the medical part is doing? Medical part is checking the science of that particular statement. So if you have written that drug X is statistically significant, the medical person from this MLR team, MLR is a three-person team. Okay, one would be the medical personnel, the other one the legal, third one would be regulatory. So regulatory would be a compliance expert who checks against government regulations like UCPMP in India. UCPMP is the Uniform Code for Pharma Marketing Practices. So something like that. So if there is a particular statement, the medical person from the MLR team will check for the science. He will check for the correctness of that statement scientifically. The legal expert would check for the risk. If there is any risk with which this particular statement can bring up for your company, right? Lawsuit risk he will check for. And the regulatory expert would check against the government policies. If whatever claim has been made, whatever in whichever form the drafting has been done, if it falls under government compliance guidelines or not. So, for example, this UCPMP says that pharma companies cannot directly sponsor the CMEs. So, whatever, likewise, they cannot directly market or advertise their product in the CMEs. So, you have to ensure that whatever content you are building up, that is not against these government. I mean, as a medical writer, you have to ensure, but once the content piece drafted by you goes through this MLR team, the regulatory expert would check for this. Okay. So now coming to the next slide. Your role would be the first thing, you will be drafting the content piece. Drafting, then annotating, you will be referencing it fully as we discussed earlier, and then you will upload it into a review system. So generally these days for a streamlined review, we have systems such as Viva Vault in place. So a medical writer would be submitting the drafted document into the review system, and then whatever feedback you are getting from all these three reviewers, that feedback would be again incorporated by you. This process we would be calling as adjudicating. So now coming to the last part of the session, as we are doing with other modules, we will talk about AI at length, and then we will be concluding this module. So positive impact, certainly it will help you in drafting all types of documents. The first draft, you can get it drafted with AI. It can help draft boilerplate sections of CSRs from tables or summarize patient safety data. Boilerplate as in the fixed document sections which are having a fixed template. So therein AI can certainly help you. Likewise, it can generate multiple headline and copy options. It can give you multiple headline options out of which you can pick up one. And then even in MLR, this I really don't trust AI on. For this automating the first pass of annotation, I don't believe, because I feel that AI seriously hallucinates when it comes to referencing. So I would suggest ki rely on yourself for annotating part. right? It is very easy. I mean, we have discussed in, I guess, in the first module that there are very authentic reference resources such as PubMed, which are available, Google Scholar. So from there you can check the information, you can find good enough authentic literature. Okay, so now talking about the AI trap, wherein the human intervention is must. So first, AI cannot understand regulatory nuance. So for example, a writer asks AI to summarize a drug's side effects. Okay, so AI wrote something like common side effects include headache and nausea. In rare cases, serious cardiovascular events were observed. So now what exactly AI has done? AI has in a way subdued these rare complications which may become life-threatening. So this is against the USA FDA regulation. And even in India, the regulatory body suggests, recommends to have a fair balance. So even if you are writing about the rare side effects, they should be given equal weightage so that the critical piece of information doesn't get overlooked, right? Second trap, AI hallucinates. I have been telling this from the first module. It gives you results which seem to be plausible, but they are actually false. They really don't exist. So for example, AI can tell you that a particular drug works by inhibiting the JAK-STAT pathway. Very plausible because it is a very specific output. But when you go back and check it, many a times it happens that it does not follow this pathway and the mechanism of action is entirely different. So please do not rely on AI completely and blindly. Coming to the third trap, AI lacks strategic judgment. So, for example, if a writer asks AI to create a headline for a new diabetes drug that is not superior but has a better safety profile than the market leader, so what exactly should be written? It is not superior. So, efficacy wise, it is not better than the other alternatives. But AI, there is a chance that AI may mix up between the superior and a better safety profile, and it can simply tell you the new introducing new drug as a new choice for diabetes. However, in reality, it was not the new choice efficacy wise. So what exactly should have been written for your diabetic patients? A powerful new option. The option. It was just an option with a demonstrated safety profile. Why demonstrated safety profile? Because you have data to support it, right? So coming to the conclusion, key takeaways, regulatory writing, we talked on. Then second, we talked on promotional writing. Then we understood what exactly is an MLR review. And then we understood what as a medical writer, you are supposed to do, what all compliance guidelines, pointers you need to stick to. Let us try to attempt some of the real practical scenarios. So let us discuss them. First one being a marketing manager asks you to write a headline for a new heart failure drug. Drug X, the unbeatable solution for heart failure. Based on what you have learned, what is the immediate problem with this request? So someone from your marketing team has come to you and asked that you have to write a headline, something like this: Drug X, the unbeatable solution for heart failure. So, are you saying something wrong here? So, see, since you don't have enough data to support this superlative adjective, unbeatable, you must not go ahead and include this superlative adjective into your title. Now coming to the next one, a brand manager asks you to write a sales ad for a new antibiotic. Okay. ad for a new antibiotic. The clinical trial showed it was non-inferior, just as good as the current gold standard drug, but it has a more convenient once daily dosing schedule. The manager wants the main headline to be the superior choice for treating pneumonia. What is the primary compliance issue here, and what should your approach be? So, see, there is a clinical trial happened on a new drug, and in the result, it was shown that the drug was as good as the current gold standard drug, but certainly it is more convenient because it can be taken it is in a once a day dose, whereas the current gold standard drug is would be something like BD or thrice a day. So manager wants you to write to give the heading as the superior choice for treating pneumonia. So is it correct? No, it is not, because again, superior would mean that efficacy wise this new drug is better, but you do not have the data. So stick the golden rule, stick to it. Whatever you are writing, it must be supported by data. Do we have some more? Let me check. Yeah. You are drafting a clinical study report for a global trial. The results for the primary endpoint were positive and exciting. However, there was a serious adverse event in one patient at a study site in Germany, which was deemed possibly related to the study drug. So otherwise, the drug under trial, it showed positive and exciting result, except one adverse event. The team is on a tight timeline, as they usually are, and suggests just focusing on the positive efficacy data to speed up the draft. Can you do this? Certainly not. Whatever side effects or adverse events have been encountered, have been narrated by the patients, have been shown by the patients, they must be documented in the clinical study report. Uh, Period. Okay. No other escape. Then next, you are preparing a slide deck for a KOL to present at a sponsored symposium. The KOL wants to include a slide discussing their own small unpublished pilot study that shows very promising results for the drug in an off-label use. Off-label use is not approved, not yet approved by the government authorities. So what is the main red flag and what do you need to do? Simple. Since now here there are two red flags. One, off-label use, because the government authorities, government regulatory bodies have not yet approved that particular drug for this particular off-label use. And the second red flag would be it is unpublished, so it is not in the your resources, right? Reference resources, so it can't be referenced. So these two red flags would not allow you to go ahead and include this particular drug. And otherwise also, in a sponsored event, you cannot, I mean, no KOL should promote his own study or book or any other intellectual property, right? So yeah, we have one more. You use an AI tool to summarize a 50-page clinical trial publication to create a short summary for internal training. The AI-generated summary states the study conclusively proves that drug Z is the new standard of care for all patients. The original paper's conclusion was more cautious. Our findings suggest that drug Z may be a valuable new option for this patient population. So, what specific AI trap does this fall into? There are many problems which I can see. First, see this AI generated headline says, conclusion says, study conclusively. Conclusively was never ever there. It was always in the original study, it was the drugs that may be, right? So this is the first red flag. Then AI says it is a new standard of care for all patients. However, the original study said new option for this patient population, a specific patient cohort they were talking about. So yes, do take AI as your co-pilot, but do not rely on it blindly. So with this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you. Stay tuned for the next module. Have a good day. Bye-bye.